Okay, so I wanted to come on and give a prophetic dream and the meaning of that. And this may be for someone else, or this is just really a word that kind of ties into another word I posted about a reprobate mind, but this is not about a reprobate mind in a sense. So I had a dream that I was just having a conversation with someone I knew, and I began to ask them about something in their life. And when I asked them about that, they fell over out of the chair and they were in a lot of emotional pain, and they were desiring for me to pray for them. But I said to them, I cannot, basically God will not allow me to pray for them unless they agree with him. And so I guess they did not agree, and so they disappeared. And so I've been sitting, there was more to the dream, but this is the part that God desires for me to share. I was sitting trying to figure out, what did the dream mean? And so I began to ask God, I said, God, would you tell us to stop praying for people? Because he's a God, some of us are intercessors. He put people on our heart, and previously before he had allowed me to pray for the person. And so I asked him that, and then lo and behold, as I try to figure the dream out, here is an answer. Yes, God will have intercessors praying for people for a certain amount of time. And sometimes he'll tell you that your assignment is up. Your assignment is complete. Here's an example of God telling someone to stop praying. Sometimes you're praying for people. You are mourning for their situation. But in 1 Samuel 16:1, God tells Samuel to stop mourning and praying for Saul because God had chosen someone else to be king. So that's the first instance. Another instance is Jeremiah. In Jeremiah 7:16, it says, as for you, do not pray for this people, and do not lift up a cry or prayer for them, and do not intercede with me, for I do not hear you. So God commanded Jeremiah to stop praying because the people of Israel, they were unrepentant people in their sins, and God had decided to judge them. And so there are some people, sometimes we just want to pray for loved ones. We want to pray for friends. We want to just pray for those people, and it comes to a time when God is like, no, this is a season where I am getting ready to judge the unrepentant for their sin. Sometimes we like to think that, okay, God is just, let me just cover them in prayer. And yes, for a season, God would allow you to cover someone in prayer. And while those prayers are going up, God has warned those people. He's done everything to allow them, again, ties into my message on reprobate mind, to turn. But there is a point, people always like, well, God is a sovereign God, or just pray for them. And yes, some of us have been on intercessory assignments, and now for some of those intercessory assignments, he's saying time is up. Because in the dream, because they still haven't agreed with what God is saying. They still haven't fallen into obedience with God. In the dream, the person was really desiring for me to pray for them, and I began to tell them that I couldn't because they had not come into agreement. And so there are some people, they have not come into agreement with God and his will, and whatever it is that God has told them about their life, about their purpose, and they're unrepentant, they're in sin. And just like here, Jeremiah was told, do not lift up a cry, do not pray for them, and do not intercede with me. Because you can do all those things, but God is not going to hear in this season. Because they have not turned, they have not been repentant of their sins. And here it says, and God decided to judge them. This is a season of judgment again. And I mean, as much as we love our friends, we love our family, we just love people God put in our lives. At some point, God will take you off of the intercessory assignment. And in that dream, God told me, And when I tell you I've been praying for this person for a couple of years now, and so that's why I had to double check and say, God, would you? And yeah, he sent me right here to 1 Samuel 16:1. Samuel had to stop mourning and praying for Saul because God had chosen someone else to be king. Not only that, in Jeremiah, he's like, no, don't pray for them. Don't lift up a cry. Don't intercede. Don't do nothing, because you can do all that, and I'm not hearing you. He was putting judgment on those people. And sometimes if you get in the way of God giving somebody a spanking and getting judgment, you're going to be caught up into, you're going to be taking some of them hits too. You know, when your mama back in the day, she go to swinging and this and that, everybody in sight. And so if God says stop interceding, if God say leave that, leave them where they are, there's nothing else you can do at the moment. You have to let them sit in their judgment, because God has done everything he can behind the scene to get them to a place where they don't have to be judged. And now there have been prayers going forth and everything. And so now, in some cases, the Lord is saying, you can cry out, you can pray, but the judgment is still getting ready to hit in this season. It was just like in the dream, because people are not agreeing with the will of God for their life, for their purpose, their call, and their assignment to come out of sin, to come out of unrighteousness. The Bible said, the day you hear my voice, harden not your heart. Some people have heard the voice of God and they've hardened their heart because they don't like what God has said. And so in this season, some of you are coming off of some intercessory assignment. I know it's real raw and uncut. It's tight, but it's right, because when you're an intercessor, when God gives you an assignment to pray, you begin to develop a love for the people, the place, the thing that you're praying for. But it belongs to God. The assignment belongs to God. When he say time is up, time is up. And some of you, for your faithfulness and obedience in praying during that time, you're going to be rewarded for your obedience.